Adira reaches out her hand, urging me to follow her, but my heart pulls me toward the unknown danger, toward Anitas. I want to take her hand and run away with her, but like so many times in my life, I hesitate. She notices. The wildness in her eyes softens into a silent plea. Though I don't understand the words she speaks, I know exactly what she's saying because I see it in her eyes. She's asking me not to go. Where I want to go may be too dangerous. Her gaze tears stronger than before. I want to stay, but neither she nor I can change who I am. I choose the battlefield. I have to do this, I tell her, then turn and sprint after Anitas. Adrenaline floods my body. I feel alive, more than I've ever felt.
No!
I hear Adira shouting something behind me, but I can't stop. Every part of me burns with the need to see what lies ahead. It's irrational, I know, but the desire is overwhelming. It consumes me. There's fear too, deep and primal, but it only drives me faster. I know that if I don't take this path, something inside me will die. Now I feel like the protagonist of a story doing something reckless, knowing it's reckless, and doing it anyway. Anitas disappears over the crest of a hill, and when I reach the top, I finally see what lies beyond. From the right side of the bank, I spot a figure running. He wears a tunic like mine and Kara's. He's sprinting down the slope below, and Anitas is running to meet him. More figures appear on the horizon from the place the stranger came from. My heart leaps into my throat. They're bigger than normal men, but they're not men. Their skin is a dark gray, almost charcoal. They remind me of goblins or dark elves. Their faces and limbs are painted with red, black, and green markings. They wear armor on their chests, thighs, shoulders, and elbows. Weapons hang from their bodies: swords, spears, axes, chains. They are terrifying, but what truly horrifies me is what I see when one gets close enough for me to make out its face: a bald, dark skull. No lips. Mouths are just gaping holes full of jagged black teeth, flattened noses nearly level with the face. And the eyes. No whites, only deep crimson irises, eyes filled with emptiness. Of course, monsters. Monsters trying to kill us. Everything happens incredibly fast. The traveler sees Anitas, veers to the right to dodge him, and keeps running. Anitas and the first enemy are only 10 meters apart when Anitas draws his sword. In one fluid motion, he reaches over his shoulder with his right hand, grips the hilt, and launches off a nearby tree with his left foot. Mid-air, he pulls the sword free and slashes downward. The enemy dodges to the side, raising a curved saber in his left hand to block. I hear the clang of steel, see sparks fly. Anitas' sword cuts clean through the saber. It shatters into pieces and continues through the enemy's arm like butter. A spray of dark red blood. The severed limb hits the ground, still gripping the saber's hilt. The monster collapses, but as if nothing happened, he reaches for a dagger with his remaining hand. Anitas lands beside him and, with a graceful flick of his sword, slices open his throat. The dagger slips from the creature's fingers as he grabs at his neck, trying to stop the blood. It's useless. He coughs and chokes in a pool of his own dark blood. Anitas has killed him. He's incredibly fast. Back on his feet in an instant, facing the next wave of attackers. More have appeared from behind the hill. Two of them chase after the castaway. Anitas draws a dagger from his belt and throws it. It flies through the air, spinning, and buries itself deep into the back of one of the pursuers. Just as Anitas releases the dagger, another enemy charges him, this one wielding two short swords. He lunges forward, blades outstretched. Anitas sidesteps, crouches, and swings his sword upward, holding it firm at waist level. The enemy can't stop in time. He flies straight into the blade. Anitas cleaves him in half. The lower half collapses nearby. The upper half hurtles forward, leaving a trail of blood and entrails before crashing to the ground and rolling over. Still twitching, but it's hopeless. Two more are on Anitas now, slashing with their weapons. He blocks their strikes, countering with his own. In all the chaos, I don't notice at first, but now I see two of them sprinting straight at me. One of them suddenly halts, leans back, and lifts a spear to head height. With a sharp, practiced motion, he hurls it toward me. The moment he throws it, I know I won't be fast enough to dodge. I brace for death. But instead, I see flashes of my past. My first love's face, lunch with my family, my classroom, laughing with friends, the garden where I helped gather vegetables at home, reading my favorite book. I see my loved ones. I see my mother offering me an apple, her smile warm. But all I feel is emptiness, dread, regret. I feel terror because I realize I never told her how much I loved her, never told the people around me enough. And now, it's too late. A tidal wave of guilt crashes over me for my laziness, for rejecting help, for ignoring my conscience when I passed a homeless man needing help. And then, back to reality. All I see now is the blade of the spear inches from my chest. But then, like a lightning strike, something flashes between me and the weapon. It appears out of nowhere. My brain doesn't even register where it came from. Anidis's spinning sword? It's Adira's. The sword slams into the side of the spear, deflecting it mere centimeters from my body. The wooden shaft snaps into two jagged pieces. Splinters fly, one slams into my chest, knocking the air from my lungs. I fall, gasping, clutching my ribs, coughing, choking on air. I look around for the sword's source and find her. Adira. She's watching me with those wild, fire-lit eyes. Our gazes meet briefly, but in that instant, I see something I hadn't before. A raging storm, unshakable resolve, fury, and the heart of a warrior. From the side, Adira charges toward the spot where I stand, intercepting the beasts hungry for blood. My reactions become instinctive, impulsive. I draw the dagger from my belt and turn to face the enemies. As they get closer, I see them in more detail and am certain they are not human. They breathe heavily, snarling through clenched teeth. Saliva drips from their disfigured mouths onto their chins. But the worst are their blood-red eyes, eyes devoid of life. Only death remains. One holds a battle axe with jagged spikes on either side. The other, the one who threw the spear, wields a chain. He's spinning it above his head, making it hard to see clearly. But I think the chain has spikes too. Every fighting skill I have comes from video games and films, so I don't kid myself. I want to face them because it feels right. I want to fight because I know if I run, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. After what I saw a moment ago, I know I have to live so that when death comes, I'll have no regrets. Even if this is the end. To die in peace, I must live in courage, without fear for my own life. I take a battle stance. One foot behind, the other forward, dagger extended in my right hand. The creatures reach me just as Adira does. She, armed only with a dagger, leaps at the nearest foe, the one with the axe. She dodges his swing and plunges her blade into the exposed side of his lower back. He lets out a horrifying roar and, with his free hand, hurls Adira through the air. She lands hard several meters away, but in an instant she's back on her feet, standing defenseless before the enemy who rips the dagger from his side and tosses it to the ground. I lose awareness of everything else as the second warrior steps in front of me. He whips his chain overhead and lashes it toward where I'm standing. I dive to the side, his chain slams into the ground with a dull thud, leaving imprints from its spikes. I lunge at him with my sword and strike his arm, the one holding the chain. My blade clinks harmlessly off his armor, it doesn't even scratch him. I step back a few paces as he turns his head toward me, opens his mouth, and emits a chilling sound that sends shivers through my spine. I don't understand the language, but I know what it means. Death. He swings his chain again, this time side to side. I dodge backward. I keep dodging, again and again. But then he suddenly changes the angle of his swing and I misstep. The chain hits me square in the left side. Agonizing, sharp pain explodes through my arm and torso. My right hand releases the dagger as the beast grabs me by the neck with his free hand, lifting me half a meter into the air so that our faces are level. His thick, long fingers wrap around my throat and slowly squeeze. He could snap my neck like a chicken's in a heartbeat, but instead, he does it slowly, baring his teeth. His breath reeks rotting flesh and feces. He savors my slow death. I gasp for air. My lungs are burning. I thrash, fighting for my life. I kick and claw, trying to free myself, digging my fingers into his eyes. Nothing works. The hellish pain and lack of oxygen blur my vision. Black spots dancing before my eyes. Darkness creeps in. I desperately try to draw a single breath to extinguish the fire in my chest. Just when I think it's over, his grip suddenly loosens. I feel his blood and saliva splatter across my face. He coughs it out onto me. When his hand lets go completely, I fall to the ground. Coughing violently, I gasp for air. Oxygen becomes the most precious treasure in the world. I try to suck in as much as I can as fast as possible, but it's not enough. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. My whole body is in agony. Pain pulses with every rapid heartbeat. My left arm is on fire. I leave it lying still because every centimeter of movement exacts a terrible price. For the first few seconds, I can't register my surroundings. My brain processes only pain. With my good hand, I feel my bruised neck, making sure nothing is blocking my breathing. When I finally catch my breath, my vision sharpens again. I see the enemy lying before me, a dagger buried in the crown of his skull. His face is smashed into the dirt. Instead of an ear, there's just a grotesque hole. My gaze locks on the dagger in his head, but then, just behind it, I see movement. I squint to make it out. It's Adira. She stands over her fallen opponent, who now lies dead at her feet. She limps toward me. Her left pant leg is torn open, revealing a long gash running down her thigh. Blood gushes from it like an open faucet. She leaves a crimson trail behind her. At this rate, she'll bleed out in minutes. She's as pale as a wall, her eyes vacant. Her steps and movements have become mechanical. She lifts her feet only slightly off the ground, staggering like someone drunk, and yet, she stumbles toward me. As I try to stand, my entire body screams in protest. I clench my teeth to stifle a cry. As I rise, dizziness hits me hard and hot tears run down my face, but my legs still hold. Still gasping for air, I take a few steps forward and come face to face with Adara. We stand before each other, both bleeding, both on the brink of collapse. Now, I wish I had gone with her somewhere safe a few moments ago. Only seconds pass when Adara suddenly staggers and lets out a horrible, agonizing groan. A black arrowhead pierces her left shoulder just above her heart. We both stare at it in disbelief, as if it's some cruel joke. She lifts her gaze one last time, then slowly closes her eyes as if drifting into a peaceful sleep. Her body collapses sideways. My arms reach out instinctively to catch her, to shield her from the fall. I manage to catch her, but as her weight lands on my injured arm, the pain is so intense that I lose all sense of direction. Up and down, blur. The world, once sharp, now looks like a painting doused in watercolors, bleeding and dripping away. My legs turn to liquid, incapable of holding either of us. I collapse with Adara, using my body to cushion her fall. I blink repeatedly, trying to clear my vision and make sense of the shapes moving in front of me. From beyond the horizon, more monstrous enemies charge toward us. Between us, only a battlefield littered with blood and disfigured corpses. Aegis is nowhere to be seen, and even if he were, against such overwhelming numbers he'd have no chance. Today, I've escaped death's scythe twice, but the third time, there will be no escape. I hope it's quick. If I'm seeing clearly, only one of them carries a bow. He pulls back the string and fires in my direction. This is it, I think, but the arrow flies over my head. Behind me, loud battle cries erupt. I turn and see a dozen tattooed, mysterious warriors storming the battlefield. Daggers and arrows cut through the air. Screams and groans fill the chaos. Adira and I lie in the center of it all, in the heart of the battlefield, but no one pays us any mind. Everyone's locked in combat, clashing weapons, and we are no longer a threat, slowly bleeding out in a pool of our own blood. The tattooed warriors are formidable. Each takes down at least 3 enemies. They fight to their last breath, with arrows in their chests, blood-soaked faces they can't see through swinging their weapons blindly, some with their stomachs torn open, still fighting with one hand while holding their guts in with the other. But they are not invincible. They bleed. They die just like their enemies. I lower my eyes to the girl in my arms. Blood still pours from her thigh. An arrow is lodged in her shoulder. She's in this state because she saved my life. If I don't act now, she'll die before the battle is over. The bitterness in my mouth is unbearable. The guilt grows stronger with every drop of blood she loses. I try to think clearly, but the pain and screaming all around make it impossible. I have to stop the bleeding. First thing that comes to mind, the belt I wear. I rip it off, toss the pouches, and use it as a tourniquet. I slide the end under Adara's thigh, just above the wound, and pull it tight as I can. It works. The flow slows to a thin stream. Then I freeze. My hands, shaking, soaked in blood, don't even look like my own. For a moment, I just watch. My blood mixes with hers, staining the earth and fallen leaves beneath us. It looks bad around me. The monsters are gaining ground. Only 2 of the mythical warriors still stand fast as the wind, leaving mangled bodies in their wake. Then a roar cuts through the battlefield. Aegis, he storms in, cuts off the archer's head and keeps going. His blade thirsts for blood, and it's getting plenty. Aegis is already covered in the dark blood of his enemies. His arrival shifts the balance. I want to see how it ends, but I'm too weak. Each drop of blood drains more strength from my body. I'm slipping under. I don't want the last thing I see to be torn bodies, so I look at Adara's face. She's the last thing I see before darkness. I let myself fall onto her, my final attempt to protect her.